What is going on, YouTube people? Northeast Ohio Cards and Comics here. Today, I talk about something a little different. We don't normally talk about sealed wax on the channel very often, but in the comments of this past Sunday's, week in review video, someone commented about, the singles market is clearly, slowly going down a little bit as we move through the season. Football's been kind of a mess. Baseball's basically flat. What's the sealed wax market doing? And I said, that's a good question. I don't really know. I don't look at it very often. And a lot of other people in the comments are like, I'm curious about this as well. So here we sit. The people demanded, and I have done the homework. So today, once again, using Market Movers. Link in the description down below with discount code NEO. And they have a very handy feature. Once again, I don't use this often. If you are a Market Movers member, up at the top here, you have a choice, sports cards or wax. So we are over in the sealed wax section. And it basically works the same. A little different, but the gist is the same. You put the years in, you put the product in that you want, and you get some charts and graphs. So we're going to talk about those charts and graphs. So like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. So I looked at basketball, football, and baseball. And just for the heck of it, I pulled up F1. I was just curious. I'm not an F1 guy. I own no F1 cards. I own no F1 boxes. I was just genuinely curious what the chart would look like. So ran with it. Let's go basketball first. For the purposes of this, I just looked at the last few years. When you get back into the way older stuff, there's not a lot of it that sells. And two, it holds value very well because there's just not a lot of it. The more recent product, there's still some out there. So for the purposes of this, and I also went with Prism. I know. I went with Prism because it's still the number one product for most of the major sports. And I went hobby boxes. I could have went retail. I just feel like retail muddies the water a little bit from year to year, whereas hobby boxes are a constant. So I went hobby boxes, I went retail, I went Prism, and I went hobby boxes. For basketball, we're looking at 2020, 2018, 2019, and 2017. I threw 2017 in there because I was curious. That class I always think is fairly underrated with Tatum and Mitchell at the top, along with a few others sprinkled in. 2018, we obviously have Luka Trey. 2019, Zion Ja. And 2020, LaMelo and Anthony Edwards, obviously along with a scattering of others. The beauty of waxes is that you're buying the entire class, not one player. So if Zion struggles, but Ja takes off, you're still okay. Or Tyler Hero or someone else from the class, whatever. Not surprising. You can see here 2018 dominates the marketplace in regards to price. Scrolling down here, let's get down into the good stuff. I went back. So interesting thing here. This is the last 90 days for basketball. So you could see 2020 is up 20% and also the cheapest of all these. 2018 is up 13%, the most expensive, almost $6,000 for a hobby box. 2019 is up 20%, and 2017 is up 4%. The intriguing thing here is, once again, this is over the last 90 days. So that takes us back to mid-August, give or take. So everything is up to one degree or another since mid-August. If you run this back 180 days and scroll down here, it basically looks flat. 1%, 2%, minus 5%, up 3%. Everything, it looks like, I don't know if this is just coincidence or what, but of the 180-day period, the first 90 days of that period, and you can use 2018 here as a good example, it went down. It kind of bottomed out in the middle of summer and has started climbing back up since, as we've approached the season. So I found that kind of interesting. I don't know if there's anything to be said for that. Let me run this back. I did not look at this yet. We're just kind of doing it live. Let me go back to the first of the year. So from January 1st to now, and obviously some of these boxes didn't start tracking until later in the year because of release dates and whatnot. Down quite a bit. 2019 down 40%. 2017 down 20%. 2018 down 10%. 2020 basically flat, but 2020 came out last year. So that's kind of interesting and not surprising because that takes us back to when the prices were at their peak. So it basically appears that 90 days ago, give or take, you can see Prism bottomed out here on 723. This is 2018. Let's run it from 723 really quick and kind of see from the bottom. Up 15% on 2020, 30% on 2018, 15% on 19, 10% on 17. So that's cherry picking, obviously the absolute lowest sale there, but you know, what are you gonna do? So the big takeaway here is at least over the last 90 days, as the singles have gone down, wax has slowly creeped up. The other big takeaway here is, you know, LaMelo, I'm not a big fan. I get it. He is good. I still don't know if he's an actual 1 on a championship team. I feel like he's a 2. And Anthony Edwards, I still think is way too raw to decide what he is yet. But that one being just happened to being the cheapest of all the wax products is semi-intriguing. 2017 at 2K is also interesting. And 2019 at 2400 is also kind of interesting, given Jaws coming on. And then if you think Zion can rebound, and there's just a lot of good guys in the 2019 class. But this just being the cheapest of the 4, to me, is interesting. I just feel like it has the most room to grow. Because someone could come out of the weeds, too. That's the thing we don't know yet. Like, that class is only 1 year in. There's probably going to be a guy that's an NBA All-Star that is not on our radar. You know, maybe it's, I don't know, Tyrese Maxey or something like that. Who knows? It could be any, or someone that we're not even talking about at all yet could emerge from that class that could boost the value later in life. That's what we don't know. And I am not a wax expert. This is not something I typically follow. So, you know, take that for what it is. But price point entry wise, that one to me is the most interesting just because it's the cheapest. So I think it has the most room to work up. 2018 is ridiculously expensive, understandably so. With Luka and Trey in there. Let's flip over and look at football. Once again, I went Prism. I just looked at 3 years here. I knew 2017 was going to be sky high because of Mahomes. And I don't like those sell very often. And I went hobby boxes again. 2018, 2019, 2020. Same thing here. 90-day period. Over the last 90 days, basically all up 10%, other than 2019 is only up 5%. 2019 also the cheapest by far. 2019 is kind of weak. It's basically Kyler Murray or bust at this point. 2018 is still pretty loaded. I mean, 2018 is actually the most loaded with Lamar, Josh Allen, Baker, and a few other pet projects. You know, it's Saquon in there. Daniel Jones is in there, I think. Or no, Daniel Jones is 2019. Sam Darnold. Whoops. But 2018 is definitely a very loaded class. And 2020, you know, has Herbert and Joe Burrow. So that's a pretty strong class as well. I would definitely take any one of those 2 over 2019 Prism for sure. But those up, you know, 10%, 5%. Curious thing here is, let me go back 180 days. Because remember, NBA sealed wax was up the last 90 days. But if you looked at 180, it had basically stayed flat. So let's see what NFL looks like. NFL has just been straight going up. A lot, actually. If you look at 180 days, 2020 is up 40%. 2018 is up 20%. 2019 is up 46%. Holy smokes. I wonder how much of that is Kyler's hot start. That actually checks out. So the green line here is 2019. And you could see it took off at the beginning of the year. Actually, yeah, look at this. It took off almost like Kyler Murray's cards, took off at the beginning of the year as Kyler exploded and then dipped back down again as Kyler has cooled, whereas the other 2 products have not done that. So this green line, I mean, this is the problem with 2019 is it's fully supported by Kyler Murray. Yeah, there's some other guys in there, but Kyler's the one carrying the water there. And that line goes as the Kyler Murray market goes in general. So that's kind of interesting. Not surprising, but just interesting. And then the blue line is 2020, just a straight, steady increase. Purple, straight, steady increase as well. Let's go back a little farther. I don't want to go back a full 100 and or full 365. Let's go back to April 1st. Yeah, this is where it starts coming down, it looks like. Well, that's new product, sorry. What do we got here? Up 38%, up 9% on 2018, and 6% down on 2019. So, yeah, just interesting stuff there with football. Basically has gone up steady since essentially the offseason. I don't know if we could draw any conclusions from that or not, but football wax, even though the single market is extremely risky, at least on the hobby boxes, appears fairly safe other than maybe 2019. 2019 is a little risky because it's kind of a one-man band. Baseball. What I did with baseball is I went with Topps Chrome. That's the product I'm most familiar with, and if I was buying hobby boxes, I would probably go for Topps Chrome. I'm sure Filmington will come into the comments and tell me that I'm wrong, and there's better stuff to be buying than this, but this is more his wheelhouse. I went with 2019 Topps Chrome, 2018 Topps Chrome, 2020 Topps Chrome, and then I also threw in 2018 Topps Chrome Update mega boxes because that's where Soto is at. Soto is in 2018 updates along with Acuna and Ohtani. It's their update rookies, not their True Topps Chrome rookies. So a little watered down, but some of the Ohtani stuff there still does pretty strong. But those are mega boxes, not hobby boxes. So kind of keep that in mind. Just running it down, and once again, this is looking at the last 90 days. So this is essentially from late in the baseball season through today. 2019 is flat, stayed perfectly flat. That's Vlad's class, along with a bunch of other guys. 2019 is pretty loaded. 2018, that's Ohtani and Acuna. Also flat. I'm sorry, down 9% on that one. Topps Chrome mega boxes. Up 4%, just ever so slightly to 480. And then 2020 Topps Chrome down 10%. That's Lou Bob along with a few others in that class. But those are only at $280 a box because no one there's really leapt out yet with it being the newest product. So that's actually a pretty interesting, do you buy a few of those and just sit on them if Lou Bob hits it big or some of the other guys out of that class? So scrolling up here, once again, that was looking at the last 90. Let's look at the last 180. So if we go back down here, looking at the last 180, 2019 up 10%, 2018 up 20%. This is not surprising because 180 takes us back to mid-May. So 2018 got the Ohtani bump on its prices. Same thing with the update along with Soto. And then 2020 is actually down 23%. So 2020 is really pulling back. And you can see purple is 2018. That's the big one with Ohtani and Acuna. And you can see that take off with Ohtani's prices go up and kind of pull back down again. My quick take here, and once again, I am not a sealed wax expert. Buying a dip, if 2018 dips as the offseason goes, that would potentially be interesting because then you're buying Ohtani and Acuna, essentially. Or the mega boxes, because now you're buying Soto, Acuna, and Ohtani. It's not necessarily their main rookies, but still not too shabby getting a shot at Soto and also, second tier rookies of Acuna and Ohtani. So that's pretty interesting there. But the 2018 straight hobby boxes are intriguing if those dip down. I think that has the most potential with having both those guys in it, plus if someone comes out of the woodwork. Also, 2020, I don't, once again, Filmington could probably hop in here in the comments and let us know. That just seems kind of cheap to me for a hobby box, but what do I know? I'm a singles baseball collector, refractors, that sort of stuff. I'm not as familiar with the sealed wax product on baseball, but that just seems like an interesting angle if you believe in like Lou Bob and anyone else from that class. Once again, I'm just looking at that because it's the cheapest entry point price-wise. So that's baseball. And then sliding over, this is the funny one. Good old F1. This is the Topps Chrome regular. That's the blue line. And then Sapphire is the purple line. And this is just great looking at this. So I went back 180 days on this. Regular Topps Chrome is up 217%. Sapphire is up 140%. Now, the interesting thing here I noticed is it actually looks like it's pulling back. So, this is, let's look at 90 days here. So 90 days, we're still on the upward swing. If I look up 128% on the regular, 50% on the Sapphire. But I have a feeling if I look at the last 30 to 60, it's going to tell us a different story. 60 days is looking a little more flat, though. Well, hobby boxes is still up 46%. Let's look at the last 30. Okay. So the last 30 days, hobby boxes are down 20%. Sapphire is down 10%. So I'd be curious. Once again, I am not a wax person, and I am also not an F1 person. Anyone that's big in the old F1 world that has some insight onto this, why is the sealed wax market on F1 slowing down, or tracing back a little bit? It's not crashing or anything. I'd far from call it crashing, but it's definitely sliding back a little bit. And this is a product that I have to imagine there's just not a lot of. I mean, obviously there's a lot of it, but there's not like a metric ton of it, like most modern product, just because they weren't anticipating this sort of demand for it. So, curious for anyone that follows the F1 market, why sealed wax boxes might be slowly pulling back here the last 30 days. When, once again, if you look at the last 180, it's a rocket ship from August 1st. If we just go from August 1st forward, that looks like when it took off. Basically right after the National, which is not surprising because F1 was a big talk at the National. From the National onward, it was up 170% and 155% on Sapphire and hobby boxes, respectively. So, but yeah, I'm curious to know what's going on in the last 30 days with this. Why is this happening? The last 30. So, that's what Wax is doing. I don't know if that was helpful or not. Hopefully it was. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments down below. Smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't. Catch you guys and girls on the next one. Peace.